Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Dawn from Creative Appliques. Today we're going to go over how to sew our in the hoop breathing face mask. This is a really quick stitch, and so let's go over the supplies that we need to accomplish the project. First, you're going to want to hoop some tearaway stabilizer. You can also use something like super solvy. You don't want to use the super thin water soluble stabilizer, but you want to use the thicker one just so there's more support when you're sewing the design. But I would prefer the tearaway. I think it goes faster, and then you won't have to wash anything out. So your tearaway stabilizer. You might want to have some spray adhesive or some painter's tape or scotch tape or masking tape. Whatever you have on hand works great. You're going to want fabric for the inside of the mask, the part that touches the face. So one of the things that I really like is the cotton jersey knit, and also some 100% cotton quilting fabric. For the fabrics, if you're sewing these now for the high demand that we have, you probably, I think they're requesting that it's washed, pre-washed, and organic if possible. We're also going to want to have some pins if you don't want to use the tape or the spray adhesive. You're going to want either elastic, cording, or ribbon. You're also going to want to have some pipe cleaners, or this is just metal wire. You can also use twist ties that we all get with our bags from the grocery store. You can also use some plant twist ties, several different options for you, and you'll see why later. And then if you have a crocodile, this will be a lifesaver. If not, you can do it without it. So let's get to the machine and sew this up quickly. For this demonstration, I will be sewing the medium-sized mask, which is intended for ladies or teenagers. And the size of the material that you're going to want to have is one piece that is the inside material, either the flannel or the jersey knit, is 6 inches by 7 inches, and the top outside facing fabric is going to be 6 inches by 7 inches as well. All of these instructions are included, written instructions are included with the purchase of the design. Also included is this small mask size and the large mask size for men. We've hooped our tearaway stabilizer, we've loaded the hoop to the machine, and now we are going to sew the placement stitch first. Okay, so if I was sewing this for myself, I would be sewing that in white thread, but it's easier for you all to see in the demonstration to have it in black thread. So we sewed the placement stitch. So now what you want to do is you want to take your fabric that you're using, and this is going to be the fabric that is touching the face. So you're going to want to have the right side down, because what we're going to do at the end is tear away the stabilizer. So you want to take, if for example I was using this fabric, I would want to put the right side down, okay? So does that make, if that makes sense, so that this is the part that's going to be the closest to the face, all right? And it's not as easy to see when you have just a knit fabric like this. But so now you can either use the spray adhesive like we talked about, you can use your pins, or I like to use just some painter's tape, or masking tape works well too. Now I can see the black line stitching in here, so I'm making sure to tape outside of that and have the 4 corners taped down well, so that there's no jumping around. Now we're going to go back to the machine and sew the placement. Okay, so we just sewed the placement, or the tack down, sorry. Now we are going to trim this fabric close to the stitching. And then there are two lines right here that we're going to clip right next to them just on the fabric. Now, what these little lines are for the slits to be able to slide in the metal, the wire that we're going to put in later. So it's easier now to just clip them. And all you have to do is take a little snip in the fabric right next to the stitching. Might be easier too if you want to get a seam ripper and snip that, or slide this seam ripper in there as well. Don't worry about cutting the stabilizer, it's not that big of a deal. The thing that you want to not be very cautious about is moving the stabilizer within the hoop, because then it's going to throw off the orientation for the rest of it. So the next step, now that we've trimmed close to the stitching and took the little snips in here, is we are going to put our top fabric, our outside fabric, on top of it. And this is going to be right side up. So it will be wrong side down and it will be right side up. You want to make sure that you've covered all of the stitching. Okay, now we're going to go back to the machine and sew the tack down for the top fabric. Now we're going to remove the tape and we are going to trim close to the stitching. Now we're going to sew the decorative zigzag stitching, the eyelets, and the part for the metal wire that goes above the nose. All right, the stitching is all done. Now we're going to unhoop the mask. And it's as simple as just pulling it away from the stabilizer. And now we're going to take the stabilizer off the back, because nobody wants to breathe through that. So now that we've removed all the stabilizer, we want to open these holes up. Now, there's several ways you can do this. You can use an ice pick or an awl. I think that's how you say it. I don't think it's owl, it's A-W-L, just a straight, sharp, pointed thing. And you can put that through the center there to get to the other side. That's pretty easy. And one of the things that I like to do that makes it really quick is my Crop-A-Dile. It's C-R-O-P-A-D-I-L-E, like crocodile, but it's Crop-A-Dile. And when you squeeze it, can you see this little thing right here that's poking out? So there's two different sizes on this. This will make a hole. Okay, so let's see, the larger one here is 3/16, but you want the smaller size, 1/8. Okay, that's the size of the hole that we want to punch. So I'll show you how I do this once, and then I'll just fast forward because it will be boring after that. So essentially what you want to do is take your fabric, and you can see the hole there, and I usually just grab it from the front and the back like this. So I have it sandwiched between my fingers, and I put the stitching part right there, and I squeeze slowly so I can see the teeth right there, and then just squeeze down and you hear it. Okay? And you have a nice cut right there. So I didn't do it exactly right because then I went through the stitching there. So I need to try that again. But like I said, you can also just use the L. So now I'll try it one more time, show it to you one more time, because it has to be extremely precise, or as you've seen, it goes through the stitching. It's kind of hard to get this at the right angle for you to be able to see, and me too. And there we go. All right, now I'm going to finish the other ones and I'll be right back. Okay, so the next part we need to do is we need to thread the ribbon through. Okay, so it might be easier for me to do this really quickly after, but you want to go in from the back. Let me try this other piece that's smaller and see if I can get this better. Sorry. I think this piece that I'm using here is, I'll measure it in a second for you. It's the thing about the elastic and the ribbons is you're going to want to make sure that you leave it a bit longer. So especially if you're donating these masks or giving them away, so that people can adjust them on their own. So this one is 9 inches. So now I'm just going to tie it in a knot. And then pull it down towards the chin here. Okay, and so it gives it its own little gathers, and you'll see in a minute. I'm going to finish the other side and I'll be right back. Okay, so then this is going to allow it to pleat on its own without having to spend all the time gathering and everything. So now let's deal with this. So now as you see, so remember when in the very beginning we took these snips right here? This was so we could put the wire through there. This is just a simple pipe cleaner, okay? And what I like to do with it is I like to fold it in half so it gives it a bit more stability even. And all you're going to do is thread it through into the pocket. And you're going to kind of want to get it in there further than, so it's not sticking out, okay? So you want to cut it. So that size of that pipe cleaner was 6 inches. So now that when you put this on the face, you could bend it around the nose, and when you pull it around the ears, it will gather for you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you are new here, if you would consider subscribing if you like my videos and my content. Also hit the bell so that you know when I upload new videos. I would really appreciate it if you would like this video as well, so that I know that you enjoy my content and I will continue making more of it. Thank you for watching today, and you only have one life to live, so make it creative. Bye for now.